What is up, Packers fans? And welcome back to another edition of the Daily Draft. I'm your host and the publisher of Packer Report, Ross Uglem, and today we are brought to you by Brewski Light Lager from our friends at Badger State Brewing. I got all my hand signals down today. They're just minutes away from beautiful Lambeau Field. They've got awesome stuff going all draft week long, starting actually on April 22nd. We'll get into some more of that later on in the show. But today, we are breaking down a very interesting prospect. We'll get to whether or not I think he's a likely Green Bay Packer, but an interesting prospect in Kentucky defensive lineman Deone Walker. I looked up the Alec Ayamanor pronunciation, and then I just didn't for Walker. D. Walker from Kentucky. Pros, he is just a hilariously sized human. He's taller than 6'7", and he's like 335. It's just preposterous how large he is. And he moves really well for like a kaiju sized human, right? Like he's a Godzilla sized dude and just moves unbelievably. One of the tallest defensive tackles ever recorded in the pre-draft process, period. Like he is just one of the taller guys that's a functional football player that has ever been through the process. Crashes the pocket more as a pass rusher, like does a better job kind of moving the pocket. I don't know about necessarily finishing all the time. I don't know about projecting that finishing to the NFL level, but he does an unbelievable job of collapsing the pocket as a pass rusher for a dude that you would think is just sort of there to plug it up in the run game. I mean, he moves pretty well for a guy that size. Incredible upper body strength. And we'll get to why I know it's upper body strength, which is not a good thing in a little bit, but incredible upper body strength against the run. Does a great job of controlling his offensive lineman as far as stacking. Okay, now I'm 300 feet tall, so I'm able to see over you. Okay, now I'm shedding you, and I'm doing what I need to do in the run defense game. He's a problem in trying to game plan to run away from him. I think is an issue now, and I think is going to be an issue moving forward. Obviously takes up a gap and a half or even two gaps in the run game. I mean, he's just the way that he moves laterally and the way that just physically, he doesn't have super, super long arms for being 6'7", but with the broad shoulders, the wingspan ends up being just hilarious. Like his tackle radius is ridiculous. So his ability to sort of sift through traffic and just process everything that's going on, he just takes up so much space in the run game. One thing I will say, too, is they played him all around the defensive line. Because of his length and because of his impact, it was so clear how much Kentucky had respect for him. Like they thought he was their best defensive player. And I think at an SEC school, you have to take a little bit of note of that. Like they would stand him up at defensive end. They would have him play nose. They would have him play defensive tackle. Like he has alignments all over. And it was clear that they were like trying to pick out matchups for him. Like, they viewed him as their best player. Folks, your best player on draft weekend is going to be the Green Bay Draft Guide brought to you by Packer Report. You're going to have 225 plus player profiles, all with Packers fits written by either me, Jacob Westendorf, or Jacob Morley. Three absolute Packer experts who are locked into this team, locked into what Green Bay likes to do in the draft. So you know it's going to be good information. You've got Jacob Morley's Packer People, really narrowing down that list of guys that you need to be paying attention to. And if you just like mock drafts, well, I wrote a 7-round mock draft, and that's in there as well. Use promo code DAILY for $1 off. Get you a discount. But after that, maybe tip it back because the tips are available this year. Maybe use the discount, and then duke us $1. That'd be great. My kids would love that. In all seriousness, we love each and every one of you that buy the guide every year. And if you've already bought the guide, tell a friend, tell 2 friends, tell 5. We appreciate it. We love each and every one of you. Cons, Deion Walker. I don't know if he'll ever rush the passer at the next level. There's just enormousness aspects to this. And then there's the second thing, which is that he tested horribly. Even in height and weight adjusted testing scores, which that's RAS. I mean, RAS is less important. Justice actually talked about this with Andy. He's like, well, there's 230-pound edges in with the edges, but it's height and weight adjusted. So, running a 4.8 at 240 is one thing, and running a 4.8 at 275 is another thing, but that is recognized in RAS. That's fine. I'm going to get off my high horse there, but Like, even for the fact that he's huge, his athletic testing was trash. And usually very poor athletes on the defensive line don't rush the passer. They can stand there and be stout and mess up your run game, but mediocre athletes very, very seldom rush the passer successfully. Not explosive off the ball, not really honestly that good on like the snap count end of it. Ball's hiked, it's go time. Sometimes he's lethargic off the ball, sometimes reading and reacting, and you never know what his defense asks him to do. Some defenses are go, go, go. Some defenses are, I want you to engage with the offensive lineman and read and react and see what's going on. So you never know what's being called. And that's a thing that makes scouting defensive linemen and edge players hard. It just does, because you don't know what this is called on the defense. But I didn't think he was particularly explosive off the ball. Not consistent. I thought that it was like this. And that stuff bugs me, especially with defensive linemen, where you're usually in a rotation and there are a lot of guys around you that are playing 65 snaps and you're maybe playing 35. And if you're still like this, that's bothersome to me. He plays super high, which he is tall, but still, like, he could make more of an effort to improve his pad level. He's not doing that right now, and it's an issue for me. I think he could still play with better pad level. I get that he's 6'7" plus. I get it. I do, but I think he could do better. And then inconsistent. This is just good with consistency, inconsistent hand usage as a rusher. I think he's just gotten by being a freak athlete, which, by the way, he very much is. Guys, head over to the Badger State Brewing facility, just minutes away from Lambeau Field. So much cool stuff going on there. They're going to have an old-fashioned station, which I have a ton of respect for, because that's just like a tribute to Wisconsin. They don't even make that liquor, but they will have some of the best beers in Wisconsin, including theirs around. Local merchants. They're going to have food trucks. They're going to have live music, I believe. Just a ton of cool stuff. And it starts on April 22nd, goes all the way through the weekend, goes all the way through the draft. If you get there, please tell them we sent you. Tell them Ross sent you from the Daily Draft. Find Andrew, the owner. He's a great dude. Make sure he knows we sent you, and have a brewski or a hazy IPA. Have one of their seltzers on me. I really like some of their seltzers. Okay, Packers fit. They haven't ever really taken a super tall D tackle. I'm not saying they can't, but they haven't. They have not taken a super tall, even a 6'6" defensive tackle is just not really their thing. It's more guys that are like 6'4", 6'3", like Kenny Clark and BJ Raji, two of the most famous Packers defensive tackles of the last 20 years, are not tall by any stretch. They are not tall. Green Bay has historically preferred either a good broad jump or a good vert from defensive tackles. He has neither. And the one thing I will say, I guess, from a positive standpoint on fit is that they have a need at the position. They do need a defensive tackle specifically. They need a large defensive tackle with the loss of TJ Slayton and potentially the future loss of Kenny Clark. Overall, I have a 3rd round grade on Deion Walker. He is my 80th overall player. Folks, drink Badger State, buy the draft guide, and go Pack Go.